All right, welcome back, Rise Up Nation. We're here for another episode of Rise Up in Real Estate. We're doing this live. Like, here comes our last guest popping into the studio right now. Here comes Joe, Mr. Joe McRoberts. We're going to get his camera. Hey, Joe, how are you?
Doing good. How you doing?
Good. Oh, perfect. Audio, video, it looks good for everybody. Well, Rise Up Nation, welcome back. We're here just going to have some chats. There'll be some people coming on live and throwing questions at us in the comment bar, and it's fun. This is going to be great because I'm excited. I'm excited because there's just, I mean, I don't know if this is correct or proper to say, but there's a lot of testosterone on the show today, and I love it. I mean, I have less than I used to have. So to have all you guys on the show is amazing for me because it's getting me right up to the right level, and it's not costing me a thing. So I appreciate you guys being here and taking time out. You know, the format of the show is just, we'll go live for about an hour, talk about whatever comes up, whatever people throw at us, and then we will. This will be edited and recorded for next week's live podcast production that goes out next Monday. For example, the show that posted today on like Spotify is last week's recording, and it was a good one. You guys should hop on there and listen to some good stuff. But what we're trying to do is find out what you guys are all about. Like, let's dig a little bit into who you are and why you are and what you're, do you guys all know each other, by the way? Does everybody, Bruce, do you know Joe?
I know Greg, and Sean and I have talked several times on the phone, had some referrals back. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm the odd man out. I don't think I've met anybody other than you and Vince.
Okay, cool. Well, let's do some introductions then. And why don't we just say your name and like maybe when you got licensed in real estate in the office that you're with RE/MAX. I'm Tad. I got licensed in 2001, and I'm in all the offices. So shoot around the bend, Vince. Go ahead.
Yeah, Vince, I'm the Director of Opportunity at RE/MAX Southern Shores. I got licensed in 2017, and I work at all the offices.
Awesome. How about you, Greg?
Greg Rudd, got licensed June of last year. Yep. June of last year, North Myrtle Beach office.
Greg, when were you born?
September 4th, 1996.
Okay, I was wondering who in here is licensed 96. Before Greg was born. Bruce, you were licensed before he was born? Okay, all right, good. Bruce, how about you? Tell us when you were licensed.
I'm Bruce. I got licensed in 2003, and I joined the North Myrtle Beach office in 2006.
Okay, awesome. Joe?
Joe McRoberts. I acquired my real estate license in 2005. Took a little break from real estate, and my wife and I started a team with RE/MAX in 2021.
Awesome.
We're out of the Carolina Forest office, Myrtle Beach office.
Yep. Excellent. Sean, what about you, buddy?
I got licensed February 15th of 2018 and joined RE/MAX on the 16th of February.
Okay, awesome.
And I'm out of the Florence office, but I cover the PD region of South Carolina.
Yeah, and interesting. Sean and Joe, you guys don't know this, but you have something in common. Sean used to manage a whole bunch of jewelry stores, Joe.
Okay.
And Joe's wife she sold me a lot of jewelry, actually, in the jewelry store in the Coastal Grand Mall. So
17 years with Reed's Jewelers. Yeah.
Who's your wife?
Deanna McRoberts.
Oh, I'm sure I bought something from her.
Friends with Tommy Ball. I was good friends with Tommy and with Larry Graham and Lisette and I worked together.
Yeah, we've been out to Larry's farm. Yeah.
He's retired now, I think.
He is. Yeah.
Are you talking about the Reeds in Coastal Grand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Larry was up at the Myrtle Beach Mall for a while, and then he took over Coastal Grand when Tommy left.
Yeah, he was up at Brian.
I bought my wife's ring 10 years ago at the Reeds in Coastal Grand Mall. Our wedding ring.
Do you remember the salesperson?
It was probably Diana.
Yeah.
That's funny. Deanna was, there's a lot of things. When Deanna said, hey, I'm thinking about doing real estate, and I had already bought jewelry from her, and the first time I went in the store, she recognized the jewelry that I was wearing. She had me pegged to a T, like what I would like, what Mandy would like. And when she asked me if she could do real estate, I said, you won't have any problems doing real estate. I mean, as good as she was at, finding out what motivations of people and stuff, they were very well trained there.
And she's brought the same skill set right over to real estate. She's got an eye for what the client's looking for. And that's, we balance each other well.
Yeah, that's interesting. So Joe's a husband and wife team. Greg is on a team, right? Greg, you're on a large team in North Myrtle Beach.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yep.
And Sean,
we got
Scott, I was telling
9.
9 of you. Okay. Sean's on a team. I didn't realize everybody's on a team. Sean has a team of 2, and Bruce is a team of 1 in North Myrtle Beach. That's all he needs, right, Bruce?
Oh, well, I don't know about that.
So I want to listen to this. You guys have to do this. If you're listening to the show, you've got to, oh wait, we got a comment. If you listen to the show, you got to do this too. Let's see what this comment is. Oh, look at here. I got to show this. Good morning, Tracy. Hey, Tracy, glad to see you out there. We have, you can ask us some questions if you want to as we go. I'm sure you'll find something interesting, but I was trying to find some inspiration for this morning. I don't know if you guys do this like I do, but I was trying to find some inspiration, like how to get this show kind of started. And I stumbled across the craziest thing. I don't know if you watch America's Got Talent. If any of you nod your heads, if you guys ever watched that show, but America's Got Talent 2024 show that I guess just wrapped up maybe last week. The winner of the show was a guy by the name of Richard Goodall. If you have a way to write notes, if those of you that are listening out there, write down that guy's name, because it was incredible to listen to his story. At 23 years, he's a 55-year-old guy, which I can relate to. 23 years as a school janitor, like a middle school janitor, and his students said, "Hey, you can sing pretty good." Next thing you know, he wins America's Got Talent. And I'm not joking. When I listened to 20 minutes of him singing this morning, and it blew my doors off. You got to go and listen to it. It was so inspirational. He's so humble. And then I stumbled across this quote, and this is where I want to start. I want you guys to tell me what you think of this. This is a quote by Courtney Cullen. The truth is, everything counts. Everything. Everything we do and everything that we say. Everything either helps or it hurts. Everything either adds to or takes away. Everything counts. Let's talk about that for a minute. In our business, like, words matter, don't they? In your relationships, words matter. What do y'all think about that? When you hear that quote, maybe we'll start with Vince, because I know Vince is like, he probably got something already got him going this morning, I'm sure. But what do you think about that? Everything you say or do either adds to or takes away. What comes to your mind when you hear that?
Yeah, for me, it's just it's an element of self-awareness, right? It's easy to forget that. So what I tell myself constantly is do the next right thing, whatever that may be. Do the next right thing, and because everything does matter, right? It really does. Whether we know it or not. So one thing our coach teaches us is to ask yourself this one question. It will change your life. Would doing whatever it is I'm about to do make me a great ex, a great agent, realtor, a great husband, a great father, a great person? Because everything does matter. So yeah, I don't know if that's what you're looking for, but that's how I apply it. Is just do the next right thing, and it all tends to work itself out, right?
Yeah, the silliest things that you think nobody watches or listens to are affecting somebody. Greg, I'm curious from your perspective, like, you're pretty new. You're new in this game of real estate. You had some early success. You're kind of getting your traction and finding your way. Talk to me a little bit about, like, what things have made you have some early success. What's important to you about this new journey that you're on? Because it's important for us old seasoned guys like the rest of the crowd to hear what you had to say.
Well, when I first started, it's like taking the cap off a fire hydrant and sticking your face into it. That's what it felt like. But I was a GC before I even started real estate, so I kind of had the confidence, but it's just a whole new world for me. So going back to your quote, I think being confident and knowledge is going to go a long way in obviously our field. But it's interesting. It's fun. I love it every day. We have a great team over here, and Remax on the Shores is great as well. Rennie is super awesome. She's helped me out a lot as well. But I really think my success really came from just the team and getting to the grindstone every day. I mean, you got to pick up the phone. You got to do open houses. Cold calling is my big thing. I love cold calling. I don't know why. I talk good on the phone sometimes, and then open houses. I do two a week, sometimes 3, and that's what's really got me going.
You love cold calling. Did anybody else almost fall out of their chair when they heard that? Like, if I hear it 10 times a day, I hate cold calling.
Is
You know
that-
why you love it?
Is that when you call somebody when you go outside when it's cold and you call somebody?
Yes, that's exactly what I
right.
was going to say. I only do it in January because that's the only
Yeah.
cold calling we do around here. Interesting, Greg. The reason you like it is because when you get on the
Yeah.
phone, and I tell you, if you do video calls, you'd be even better off. When you get them on the phone, they're totally disarmed because they're like, "Who is this kid going to sell me nothing?" Right? I mean, so you're in a good place to be able to make that. I'm looking at a comment here
Right.
from Tracy. Greg just got licensed when I first met him over a year ago, working another job, and he heard my husband and I talking about selling our house. He came over and started talking real estate. So look at he was trying to get business from one of our people that works here. I love it.
Where was that, Greg? Was that at the restaurant?
That was at Hammer Joe's. I was a bartender
Yeah.
there when I was transitioning from construction to real estate. I didn't know Tracy was an agent. I'm the bartender, so I was working the bar, and as soon as I heard anyone talking about a home, my ears just perked up. I walked over there and introduced myself, and she told me she was actually joining Remax. So, but it's just those connections. We met before she even joined Remax, I think. So it was cool, and that's just how it's always been. I don't mind walking up to strangers and just introducing myself. It's just something I've always done. So cold calling is just an easy thing for me to do.
What about the rest of you guys? Do you feel yourself being that forward? I mean, a couple of you seem a little bit more introverted than that, but talk to me a little bit about business style. Would you have done that, Bruce, or Joe specifically, if you were bartending and you heard that?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Would you? Yeah. As a bartender, probably. Yeah.
I tell you one thing I've really been, I was brake checking myself. Like I didn't want to be that guy that was in everybody's face about I'm a realtor, but people love having these conversations, and it doesn't matter where you're at. If I'm wearing my Remax shirt, grocery store, ball game, watching my kids play, whatever, it's, you got to put it out there, because if you don't, it's a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
I give Greg credit for that as a younger,
Absolutely.
person to be able to do that. Because when I was young, I wouldn't have done that. Now, absolutely, but not when I was younger like that.
Yeah, that says a lot. Good morning, Alina. I want to brag on Alina for a second. She was she's taken some classes with Remax University, this series of classes, and she's been on the leaderboard, like with nationwide. She's been on the leaderboard for participation and success in those classes. So I'm glad you're here, Alina. If you have any questions, shoot them at us. We'd love to dig deeper with these guys. Sean, you seem to be super introverted. A little bit that I know about you. Talk to me about your business style. Like you switched from a very public position into real estate, and I don't know that I've ever met anybody who works harder than you at what you do. Talk to me about what you just heard Greg say and the lesson from that about speaking up.
I think two things. One, to go back to your quote, PMA is so important, and that's just positive mental attitude. And that's, and even old Zig Ziglar, do a checkup from the neck up and no stinking thinking, and staying optimistic and positive. And, I knew early on when I got in this business that I was not going to be successful as a secret agent. And so I did things like, I got a wrap for my truck, and I'd go out every day, and I wouldn't go home until I'd handed out at least 10 business cards. I would I got on my phone and I called and texted every single body that was in my sphere of influence on my phone and said, "Hey, I'm in real estate now. You know, if I can help you, call me." You know, those things obviously are important. And then I kept losing my name badge because I knew I couldn't be a secret agent with people not knowing. So one day I bought a dozen of these khaki hats. I thought that I have a hard time matching khaki, so I had to get khaki, right? And so I bought a dozen of these, and I thought, you know what? I'm just going to do something and be a little bit different. And that way, everybody I talk to or everywhere I go, people are going to wonder or they're going to ask, or I'm going to talk to them and tell them, you know, I'm in real estate. You know, if you need help buying or selling, let me know. I'll be glad to help you. So, you know, I think being positive about the whole aspect and not being afraid, you can't meet a stranger. You just can't. Everybody's a potential client. And so, you know, letting everybody know what you do and being positive about what you do and letting them know you're available to help them, you know, was smart, Greg. And even starting out doing that and walking up to somebody and just saying, "Hey, I'm a realtor. If I can help you, let me know." What was great. And I think anybody in this business, you're not going to be successful sitting at home. You're not going to be successful, you know, unless you're out actually talking and shaking hands and being the mayor and kissing babies and, you know, letting people know what you do. It's important.
Playing a little golf, right, Sean?
A little bit, playing at it.
Yeah, and I can back Sean up on that. I've known Sean 2 years. I've never seen the top of his head because he's always got the hat on. Always. Never seen Sean without the hat. So how many, Joe says, you know, people love having those conversations. And we go, well, why, right? So when he says no secret agent, think about it. Everybody has to have a place to live, whether they rent or buy or whatever, right? So these are conversations that affect every single human on this earth, right? Because we're in the business of shelter, you know? So I think that's why you can't be a secret agent.
And it's interesting to me, like what motivates that for Greg and Bruce? What motivates you guys to be that? Like, it sounds like you guys brand yourself pretty well. And we could go into the brand discussion, non-brand discussion, but what motivates you to want to talk to people? Is it the financial reward? Is it helping people? Is it I just have a job and I've got to do it? Talk to me a little bit about what motivates y'all to do it. Bruce, go ahead.
For me, I like to see people happy and like to help people realize a dream because, you know, here at the beach, most people that want to buy here have dreamed about owning property here for a long time. So just helping them realize that dream is great. You know, I helped a lady that was in her 80s that had lived in the same house since the 60s. And to watch her go through that process, and the day of the walkthrough, the day of the closing, it was new construction, to see the smile on her face, man, it gives you goosebumps. I mean, because here's a woman who lived in the same house for 60 plus years. So just helping people and seeing them happy is what motivates me.
Yeah, I've had lunch with Bruce a bunch of times, and you know, we've been friends for a long time. I mean, the other day we were having lunch, and it kind of hit me for the first time, Bruce. I don't know why, but you are just a genuine helper. Like, you like to see other people happy, which is probably more than you like to see yourself happy, which is a weird thing to live with. You know, like, you probably put yourself, and maybe all of us do because we're service-minded people, put yourself second and the people first. But it just hit me the other day when you said that. You're just a helper, and that's no wonder you've been successful.
Yeah, it's when you said probably more than you like to see yourself happy, I think that's true because sometimes I don't think we even know what makes us happy. You know, we think we want things and there's things we want to do, and then you do them, or you obtain this, you know, possession, and it just doesn't do anything for you. So it's nice to see other people smile. It makes me smile.
Greg, just FYI, church is getting ready to start for you if we get on this topic about more versus better. Vince and I have gone deep on this one, but I want to hear from some of you guys too. Like, what is the motivation, even for you, Greg, when you're starting out? What drives you to? Because this isn't an easy business. You don't get a paycheck every week. Well, you might if you're really good, but you don't get a salary. So what drives y'all?
What drives me, I I've known so many friends growing up in high school, like the Marines, the Gores. They're so big into this town, and they have deep roots. The Bellamy's as well. I kind of wanted to put my foothold in the town. I knew getting into real estate would be a good way to go about that. I love helping people as well. That's what got me into construction and opened up my own business, is helping people. But I think what mostly drove me was putting a foothold in the town. I got on the commission committee, Grand Strand Young Professionals, volunteer for Sea Haven. So it's cool. It's just all around. It's for me, it's just a good career field.
That's impressive, man. I appreciate you saying all that. And by the way, if you have anything to do with Sea Haven, tell them they made the wrong choice without choosing me for the MC this year for their big banquet last week. I missed out. My loss. Sean, you and Joe chime in a little bit. Like Joe, you've done a lot of things in your life, right? I mean, what you were out of real estate, now you're back in. What drives you to do what you do, man?
So I've got a pretty diverse resume, I guess, is the best way to put it, but mostly a mixed bag of construction and the restaurant business, service industry. And, I've always been of service, like helping people, keep making sure they're happy. And that middle management's a tough gig sometimes. So you're keeping your staff happy, you're keeping your clientele happy, and your upper management happy. So you're playing with a lot of moving parts. So maybe it's just kind of a natural step in this direction, which I didn't even realize. But in the longer you're in the business, you might get in the business for one reason. I'm tired of the restaurant business, or I'm tired of this, and I want to change, or I want more control over my schedule, more freedom, which is an illusion. But in the end, you realize, well, we've had a pretty good year this year, and by that happening, we've been able to give more, help out with being a athletic sponsor at the, with the kids' activities, been able to, help feed 100 little football players at the rec center, once a week, stuff like that. It feels really good to be able to give back and have time to do it and have the resources to do that. And it compound effect, the more you do, and the more happens. And it just keeps coming.
Weren't you this might not be the right word for what you did. Weren't you like the sommelier or the wine expert at
Correct.
Roots Chris?
I handled all the wine dinners and wine buying and created the wine list. I did that for a good 10 years. I was with Ruth Chris for about 14, opened in 2008. Yeah, that was, I was comfortably complacent there. It was a well-paying job and fun to do. And it was, that was interesting. I learned a lot. You dive in to whatever you do. I like to do that. I dove into the wine world pretty deep, learned a lot about, all the little nuances. And now I'm doing the same thing with real estate.
That's
Joe,
did you
drink more as a sommelier or as a realtor?
Yeah, actually, it's funny. I stopped drinking. I have a drink maybe once in a while now. It just kind of at a social event or something. But the last time I drank was at our anniversary. We did the Habitat for Humanity Gala, and I felt it. Yeah.
Yeah, right. You said, and Tad knows I'm going to say this next. You said comfortably complacent, right? So I'll let you go with it, Tad. But that leads to this is going to sound a lot, but that leads to death. Tell you that comfort zone will kill you, right? So
it will.
Yeah, pretty cool.
I tasted over 2,000 different labels of wine over, and that's a tough job. It is. You believe it or not. Yeah.
You guys are making my point that I often say. Like, we often say we get into this business. Like, nobody really graduate. Like my son graduated from college, got right into real estate, but most of us don't do that. Most of us have a history, but we say we're new agents. But Joe, man, your experience just the fact that you work at Ruth's Chris and you were in management there, and you had and your wife worked at Reed's Jewelers in a high level. You learned about customer service. I was a golf professional at a really high level private country club listen, these customers and clients can't ask me anything that I've never been asked before. Like, I know what service is about. I know what it means to open a door and say, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. And I mean, all of us have those stories. Like, Bruce worked in the auto industry for a long time. And man, did you learn anything, Bruce, in those hallowed walls about what it means to serve people?
Yeah, because I did. I mean, I was in so many different positions. I did outside wholesale sales, and that's rough because you're walking into body shops and repair shops and asking them to give you some business, and or do business with you, and that's those guys can be harsh, man. So absolutely, you learn what no means really fast,
Yeah. And how about you, Sean? Did you learn anything from your past life that helped you in real estate?
Oh, no doubt. 28 years of retail, 20 years of multi-unit management. There's a lot of things that tied in from that past life that when I got into real estate was extremely beneficial for me. And I see it every day. And, you asked the question earlier, what motivates me? And I've been a trophy husband for a long time and still am. And I decided I needed to do something to outpace my wife. But for me, every deal is kind of like a jigsaw puzzle. And getting to walking out of the attorney's office and it's closed is, where my excitement happens. Doesn't have anything to do with the money. It has to do with actually starting a process and having a goal of obtaining a closing date and closing for whatever reason, be it if I'm helping a seller or a buyer. My enjoyment comes from completing the task and getting to the finish line and crossing that goal line. And that's when that's when I get my euphoric feeling. In the jewelry business, if I sold a 1 carat, it kind of got my adrenaline pumping, a little bit. And with real estate, it's helping somebody achieve their goal, be it home ownership or selling, getting to that finish line and crossing the goal line, to me, is where I get my enjoyment. And again, has nothing to do with money, just has to do with, walking across that goal line. And I remind people all the time, buying or selling real estate, it's sort of like going to Disney World. On the way there, you're gonna get potholes and speed bumps and run off the road and maybe run off of gas, and you might get a flat tire and you might get stuck in traffic, and it might take 4 hours longer to get there than you anticipated. And you might get to the motel and it's a dump. But at some point, you're going to be walking through the gates of Disney World, and you're going to be so excited and so pumped up that everything that happened on the way there has been forgotten because you're getting into Disney World. And walking out of an attorney's office with keys in your hand to a new house or a check in your hand because you just sold yours, it's kind of like going to Disney World for me. It's exciting.
It's fun being part of the solution. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Part of that solution. Lightning round, favorite, and any of the list that we got quite a few viewers out there right now. Any of you want to throw a lightning round question up or a question for our guests? It comes in live on the chat and we can deliver it right to them. Favorite food? What's your favorite food? We'll just go Vince and
wings.
Right around.
Wings.
Oh yeah, there we go. Wings. Greg,
Pizza.
favorite food? Pizza. Okay. Sean?
That's a toughie. I'd say shrimp.
Pizza. Yeah, sorry. Am I lagging?
Yeah, you're lagging a little bit. Okay, Sean,
you got it. But like, what shrimp?
Any kind of shrimp.
Any shrimp? Okay.
I could be like Forrest Gump and name them all.
Bruce.
Man, I don't know. You know this. I don't know if I could pick one. If I had to pick one, everyone's going to laugh at me. Meatloaf and mashed potatoes.
Oh, man. Bruce.
If I had to pick one, my wife used to make a big old meatloaf, man. And she would take one slice. This was when I was young, 25, 26, 27. I would eat the rest of it. that would be that. There was nothing left when I got finished. But that if I had to pick one, but I like all food really. But if I had to pick one, that would be my favorite. I know that's weird though, but
that's awesome. I love that. Joe, how about you?
Yeah, I'm with Bruce. It's tough to choose. Coming out of the restaurant business, had a lot of great food over the years. But it's something y'all don't know about me. My wife and I got into yoga real deep, and I was a vegetarian for about 7 years. But right now, my favorite food, and it's been this way for some time, is ribeye. I love a good steak. That's where it's at.
That's nice. Can you cook a good steak, Joe?
Absolutely. I got old Oklahoma Joe's smoker. Oh yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now you're talking Bruce's language. Bruce sent me a picture of a brisket that he made. So we got all guys on the show. We can talk about this, but brisket that he made the other day, and he gave me the instructions. And then Bruce, I didn't tell you this. All my relatives were in town. Actually, I don't have any relatives. All of Mandy's relatives were in town, and one of them gave me some advice on a brisket. So I'm raring. Next time it goes to sale for less than like $48 a pound, I'm gonna get one.
Man, that's a tough meat to get tender, but that I'll tell you what, I found that particular method and recipe. It's I mean, we talked about Lewis Barbecue in Charleston. It's Lewis Barbecue. It would give it a run for its money. That was that good.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I think my favorite food, I love cheese. I love a good cheeseburger if it's from the right place. But I love every kind of food. You can tell by the size of me that I don't get this size by turning down food. And I've never been a vegetarian. I've gone lengths of time without eating any vegetables, so we don't have that in common, Joe. Let's talk a little bit. This might be a little bit touchy, but I think it's important to talk about on a show like this. And I haven't ever had a group of just guys on the show, but Sean made reference to trophy husband, and I don't know, Greg. Greg, you and I aren't close enough that I know your relationship status or any of that, and I'm not trying to pry. We don't all have to share. But I want to know, like those of you that are in relationships, how much pressure is there or has there been over time to produce, to feel like you're bringing? I mean, I know Joe, Vince, Bruce. I know your situation, Sean. I know yours. Like, is there a pressure to feel like you're bringing value to the relationship by performing in real estate? And if there is, how do you balance that when it's such an unpredictable arena? Like if you had $100,000 job that you were getting, 152 of that every week, that's predictable. And you can feel like you're bringing your bacon to the table. But for a guy, is there anything to that? Let's just talk about that for a minute. If there's something there.
Yeah. I'll step up. So it does help that my wife's one of my team members, but at the same time, we we don't always agree on everything. But as far as feeling that pressure to perform and how to perform, one of the main things I've been able to, my kids are at that age now, I can educate them on the process of what we're doing. My son likes sitting there with me while I'm running a CMA and crunching the numbers because he's all into math. Our daughter likes to see how pretty some of these houses are. So when they know what's going on and how we're doing this and how we're keeping a roof over our heads and running a business, I think it kind of sets their mindset, for the future. And they start thinking about what they want to do. I think our daughter wants to be an interior designer now, but by getting the family involved in everything, my kids are 11 and 12. It helps a lot with everybody's patience, their patience with me and my patience with them.
I should mention this about Joe since he was just talking, it made me think of it. If you guys like to read, I remember my conversation with Joe one time about how well read he is. He reads everything, every kind of book. That'd be a very fascinating conversation if you're a reader and you want to hook up with Joe. Somebody else talk about.
There's the library.
Yeah, look at there. There's a library.
That's my physical library. I've got over 200 labels. My Audible library.
That's awesome. Somebody else talk about the pressures of real estate and how you balance it.
I don't know about pressure, but just the roller coaster ride is probably the hardest thing for me to balance, even after 21 years. It's I don't think you get used to it. Maybe you understand it more, but you're never really happy with that part of it. And it doesn't matter how hard you work, there's always those peaks and valleys. But pressure wise, my wife has been great. She always just says, tell me when we're financially in trouble, and so outside of that, I mean, she knows I'm going to do what I need to do to keep a roof over our heads and a meal on the table. Well, she buys the groceries, so that helps too.
Yeah.
I had to learn to keep quiet about closing day because I found my wife was showing up with her paw sticking out.
I wonder if she's listening to this.
She's working from home today. I might better shut the door, hadn't I?
Yeah, you're gonna feel that paw is what you're gonna do. You better be careful because Mama's coming in.
Yeah, we see a fist come across that screen there, knock him in the side of the head.
You have somebody come in and reach and grab him out of the thing. Yeah. What about you, Greg? What kind of pressure do you feel? Like, I'm sure growing up here, you got peers that are out there doing their thing, right? Like they're trying to get their traction and their career started. You've been bold. Talk to me about that.
I think a lot of what Bruce said about the roller coaster. I had my first experience with that a couple months ago. I had about 4 or 5 under contract at the same time. So I was kind of getting pushed 3 or 4 different ways every day. And then once everything started closing, we kind of got on the back end of everything. I realized I wasn't doing as much prospecting as I was. And then I kind of hit a little plateau for a second. And now I'm just getting back out there doing cold calls, door knocks, open houses. But it's kind of it was time management, and it's just something that I just had to learn, and still within my first 2 years. So everything's a learning curve.
Yeah, Vince, why don't you speak a minute about? I know when he said time management, it makes mine and your antenna go up because it's about there's this cycle. It's like sometimes like my heartbeat when I get on my Peloton. Like sometimes I'm at the top of the hill and sometimes I'm at the bottom. But what do you require or what do you recommend for a more level business plateau, consistency in business? Do you talk about that at all?
Sure. Well, time management, as you and I know, and some of you guys might already know, is kind of an illusion in itself. You can't actually manage time because there's 24 hours every day, no matter what, right? Time is time. What we can manage is what we do with that time, right? So our actions and our activities. So the best way to think of it is a 12-ounce, glass of gold or water. 12 ounces each, but one's worth a whole lot more than the other. So what are you doing with your time? Is really the business model there, the thinking. So that's all about just consistent actions, right? But I want to hear Sean. So I've been around Sean enough to know that phone does not stop ringing. So when we talk about every choice matters and we talk about balancing time and all that, Sean, you're probably having to say no to some good things and yes to some great things, I imagine. And I know you're expanding and things like that. So, how are you managing time if we want to say that's a thing?
It's interesting. Joe mentioned when I started looking into real estate before I got into it, the people that I talked to, first said, hey man, you're going to be working nights. You're going to be working weekends. Your phone's going to ring at all hours of the day. And I was used to that. I mean, I was running 23 stores at one time. So I was used to phone calls and people calling, and most of the phone calls were problems, or issues that, had to get resolved. And I've always had a work ethic where I don't mind working 60, 70 hours a week. I've done it my whole life. And, nobody wants to do that, I don't think. But I find I'm happier when I am working. Unfortunately, if my phone's not ringing, it's ringing right now. And unfortunately, if my phone's not ringing, it almost makes me depressed. I keep looking at it. Is my ringer down? What's going on? and it's hard to manage. I was telling my wife this the other day. I said, hey, every morning I try to get in my office by 8, and I try to get all my computer stuff done the first 2 hours of the day, or if I allot time from here to here to do this and this. Well, then all of a sudden somebody calls me and says, hey, will you write an offer on this? Or, hey, there's a problem here. And next thing you know, I'm on the telephone for those 2 hours I was going to do computer time. It's tough if your phone's ringing a lot. And now my wife's solution is shut your phone off. And that is, I might as well stick a nail through my head, because it just makes me crazy to even think about turning my phone off. Because I feel like when I do turn it off, when I turn it back on, I've got 7 text messages, 5 missed calls, 3 voicemails, and now I'm trying to play catch up with everybody. And while I'm playing catch up, there's more phone calls coming in. So it is tough, because I don't like to tell people no, and I take on any and everything I can get my hands on. I don't care how much it is or where it is. I have a hard time saying no anytime somebody calls me and wants help with real estate. And it was one of the reasons why I started a team and got an assistant, because I couldn't tell people no, I don't want to do this. This isn't worth my time. I'm going to make $700 off of this, and after taxes and this and that, I'm losing money. I don't want to help you. I couldn't make myself do that. I thought if my phone rang, that the good Lord was involved in it, I needed to answer the telephone. And I remember one of my mentors, when I first started at Remax, he was preaching to me all the time how I needed to take Sean time, and I needed to turn my phone off, and I needed to do this. And I said, yeah, but if I do that, I might miss $1 million listing, or I might miss $1 million buyer. And he busted out laughing. He said, that's not going to happen. But in my mind, if I don't respond to these people or get back to them or talk to them, I'm missing out on something. And it was part of the reason for starting a team and bringing on a buyer's agent, because I was getting so many calls from out-of-staters and people that I didn't even know who they were outside of my sphere of influence. And I didn't feel like I was giving them the level of customer service that they deserve. Mm-hmm. So my thought was, let me bring somebody on so that this overflow and abundance of people that keep calling me, and with the last name Austin, I get a lot of butt dials, but most of them were important phone calls. And, I wanted to make sure that they were getting taken care of. Again, that's a tough thing for me, time management and being able to stay on track. Hey, for 2 hours I'm doing this, and 2 hours I'm doing this, and 2 hours I'm doing this, and 2 hours I'm doing this. It's hard. And the other problem is I like to talk. So what should be a 3-minute phone call with somebody ends up being a 15 to 20-minute phone call with somebody. So I'm not.
That comes from you're genuine. You're genuine in that interaction. You want to know about that person, right?
Yeah.
Because you're enjoying it.
Yeah. So it's I've been through Julie Morgenstern classes, time management. I've been through 2 Franklin planners, on time management. And when it comes to the opportunity to talk to another human being, I choose that over time management. And
Tad,
so,
can we hear this from Bruce and Joe too, and just their take on all that? Because I hope, Greg, I hope you see that my screen's got them below you, but like you're in a good spot right now. This is a lot of goodness for you to soak up right now, man. So I would say this when I go back and watch it over every year. I'd rewatch this. But Bruce and Joe, Bruce first. Sean's. It's hard to say no, right? And I know that about him because he almost ran us into a ditch in a golf cart saying yes on the phone one day while we were playing. Okay.
He was texting.
He was the driver. If you play with Sean Austin, you drive the cart. Okay. Now you all know. He'll be on the phone. But how do you feel about that, Bruce?
Oh, that's the hardest part. I don't call it time management. I call it time blocking. But no, I don't practice it. That's the sad part. I know from doing Sean mentioned the Franklin Planner courses. We use Franklin Planners in management, the car business, and we were forced to do it. And our GM would come in and look at your book every week, and he would change the color of pen that you had to use to write in that Franklin Planner, and he would do it in the middle of the week. He'd change the color of the pen. So on Friday when he'd come and look, if you didn't write all your notes in red or you tried to go back and write them, you you were caught, and we had to block our time. We didn't call it time management, we called it time blocking. But I think for me, we all do it, I'm sure. And it's the toughest part. You look at, you get an email, it comes on your phone, and you look at it right now versus waiting till, let's say, 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock or whatever. And then you spend 15 or 20 minutes or 30 minutes going through your emails and answering them. We don't do that. I don't know if any of you all do, but I know I don't. And that's the hardest part. And it's Chad and I think we're joking about this at lunch a couple weeks ago together. You develop ADD, because you're pulled 15 different directions, and it's hard. So I don't practice it. I need to, and I keep telling myself I'm going to do that. Like, I'm only going to look at my email 3 times a day, first thing in the morning, maybe right before lunch, and then 3 o'clock. And then, again, maybe at 6 or 7 o'clock at night after you've sat down, hopefully, and had dinner or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not giving any good advice, basically.
No. Do you time block for your jam sessions? Bruce is a
Man,
musician.
so it's crazy you ask me that, because my theory teacher keeps telling me that that's my problem. Like, I've gone 18 months in theory, and I've learned a lot, but I'm not nearly as far along as I need to be. And he said, man, you have to. He said, I don't care if it's only 5 minutes on one certain thing. Spend that 5 minutes and don't think about anything else. No, I don't. And that's the problem. I have ADD extremely bad. I mean, I could be talking to you like, hey, there's a squirrel. That's like, that's how I am now. And it's terrible.
We're talking a lot. I mean, I was going to say, when Sean was talking, I think the key to this, like, you guys have, obviously, Bruce is a successful realtor. Joe, Sean, you've been around a while, and you guys have kind of forged your way. But self-awareness is important. When you both, Sean and Bruce both, were just talking about weaknesses of their practices, things that they're aware of, self-awareness. But you're aware of it so that now you can either you accept it and say, it is what it is, or you say, this is what it is, and now I'm going to make a change. You guys seem okay with what I mean, this is what I'd say oftentimes. It's the fear, the pain of preparation, or the pain of regret, right? You either change it, go through the efforts to not answer your phone, or to not block the time, or you go through the pain of your phone blows up all the time because you haven't set standards. Whichever is most important is where you're going to, and the pain is what does it, like whatever you are comfortable living with. But self-awareness is the key. Once you've realized what you need, and I think you're all very good at that. I know Greg's good at that. I mean, I'm interested, Greg, about your GC license. There aren't a lot of people that have that. I mean, that's pretty, what caused you to go that route? Like, you were just trying to make a name for yourself, and you said, I'm gonna go build some houses, or what?
No, I didn't build. I was what's called old construction. So just remodels, exterior restorations, things of that nature. But I went to college at Charleston. That didn't work out. Just did what every college kid does and partied too much, to be honest with you. So when I got out of college, just got into construction. It's the most well-paid job for starting out, I thought. So I had bills to pay. Did that for a long time, and I was like, man, just screw working for the man. I'm gonna work myself. GC is actually it's a hard test, but it's not that hard. You get one book. I'll tell you, I passed a GC the first time. I failed my real estate test twice. It's easy to get into, but I just did residential. I didn't do commercial, or I wasn't a home builder. I just got my GC just so I can get my license to do anything over $500. So anything under $500, you don't have to show. But that's actually what got me into real estate, was getting into construction. I did a job for Don Smith. He has a house over here in Briarcliff, and he referred me to a lot of people. So I took him and his wife out to dinner, and just talking to him. He's like, "Greg, you should get into real estate." I was like, "All right, cool. That's all I need to hear." So that's what really got me into real estate.
Who did you say? Don Smith?
Don Smith, yeah, Caldwell Banker.
Well, he's
my stepdad actually did a lot of work for him too. My stepdad has a G. Oh yeah, Don's a cool guy. Don's a real cool guy. I didn't know who he was when I first met him, but he's a great guy. my stepdad did a lot of work for him as well. And I was my stepdad's sub for the longest time. So it was just pretty cool, just how it all happened. But here I am.
Yeah, that's cool. Let's we've got about 10 minutes left. I can't believe how fast an hour goes. I told the guys last time on the show, I'm like, my Peloton hour doesn't go this fast.
No.
It does. It goes way slower than this, and neither does an hour with a client that you don't want to be with. But let's talk a little bit about. Joe touched on it earlier, but I think we all have this, and right now it's kind of important to talk about because of all that happened with this hurricane recently. Like, we're on the coastal part of South Carolina, and we didn't get, excuse me, we didn't get much from this storm, but we get stuff from storms, and Florida is pretty kind of reeling from the storm, and all the way up into the mountains of North Carolina, South Carolina. It's been devastating. I don't know if you guys are paying attention on the news. We're doing this in the end of September 2024, but Joe mentioned giving back, and my wife and I are passionate about this. Like, the more you make, the more you give in our family. Like, that's just how it is. The more you're trusted with, the more you give away. But talk to me about that part of it for you guys. Do you have that aspect in your business where Bruce, you told me you're a giver, like a people pleaser. You want to make people happy. Talk to me about the balancing act here and what you guys are involved with. Maybe mention a charity that you're passionate about, or some way you're giving back to storm relief. Any of you are fine.
I was trying to give somebody else a chance. Oh, well, my wife and I have been talking about that over the last several days. We actually have friends that are there, and we don't know if they're okay or not. We text one of them. I'll get to your question after this, but and she said, yeah, we're okay. Basement's flooded, but that rest of the house is okay. We're okay, but no power. And I would imagine now they've lost, cell service because they can't charge their cell phones. We haven't been able to reach them. And then a lady that my wife worked for 10 years here at the beach, a retired attorney, is up there, and we don't have any. And her sister doesn't know if she's okay. But to answer your question, we've talked about that, what we're going to do. We're planning to, and now since you mentioned that the company's going to do something, we may just wait and provide it to you all or whoever to take up there. But yeah, we're going to do something for them. And I think all of us donate to the Children's Miracle Network, I think, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody. Yeah. Been doing that for 18 years. So it's a good thing.
Yeah. It'd be cool for you to go back, Bruce, and ask somebody in the accounting department to pull how much you've donated over the lifetime of being with RE/MAX. They probably could pull that for you. That'd be a cool number to know.
Yeah, that's actually good. That's a good idea. That's a great idea. Because
that as a company.
Yeah, I posted something about a year ago on Facebook about how we donate to Children's Miracle Network, and I had clients text me saying, "Wow, I didn't know you did that." Well, maybe it's something we should broadcast even louder, because people don't know, and it's an important thing to do.
Yeah, we've had they send out those a letter or something, mm-hmm. to our clients if the donation's over a certain amount, and it states that that this donation was made in your name to the Children's Miracle Network by the McRoberts team and RE/MAX Southern Shores, and we had clients give us feedback on that and how that made them feel was pretty awesome. It's a and this year we just Deanna got her miracle agent notification, and that was pretty cool. Asheville and that whole area, we've spent so much time there over the years. That mountains are our getaway, a change of elevation. We've been to Chimney Rock and see what happened there. It's horrible. And that's kind of scary up there, by the way, if you've ever been up that in a windy day. And then Black Mountain. I ran a Spartan race, Black Mountain, back in 2019, and it's a beautiful area, magnificent, and just to see, where it is now, and it was people were totally unaware something like this could happen. It's been. You get the spring snow melt there and the warnings on the trails, but something like this is totally unforeseen.
Yeah, this gives us some fuel, not fuel, but when people talk about hurricanes, and I remember when Hurricane, I don't remember which name storm it was, it did way more devastation in Charlotte than it did at the beach, and the eye passed right over us. But people forget what it does inland. Like I have friends in Atlanta that are in Greenville that are devastated because of 15 or 16 inches of rain they're not used to having. But it's interesting that we are people that, like, I think when people get into real estate, it's because you want to help people. And then when stuff like this happens, it just tugs at our heartstrings, doesn't it? Like I can't tell you, I did a video this morning. I can't tell you how many texts and emails I got saying, I want to help, show me how to help. And it's not because we won't help in return. It's just, that's just who we are. Bruce.
No, I was going to say, I don't know how many of y'all have actually been anywhere where there's been a disaster like that. I was here right after Hugo and drove from Charlotte to here. It was amazing to me how much worse Charlotte was from wind damage than the beach area was, obviously because the storm went inland and went up through Columbia and over to Charlotte. And looking at this place after Hugo, I was here about 7 days after Hugo. Because I was a lot younger, obviously, and I don't know that it registered the way that it does now. But imagine when you look at these pictures of Chimney Rock and Asheville and all that, people that have lost their homes and their businesses are totally destroyed. I mean, there's nothing but rubble, and they don't even know where it is. It's washed so far downstream. It's just, I can't even imagine what they're going through, and it's terrible.
Yeah, and we are going to have, for those of you listening that aren't part of RE/MAX Southern Shores or RE/MAX Professionals, you can message us through this broadcast or on an email or whatever. That'll be in the show notes if you want to help. We're going to putting together raising some funds and some supplies. Got a good friend in Charlotte who's putting together quite a campaign. So we are going to help the way that we should. We were trying to find some RE/MAXs. If you're a RE/MAX out there and you're listening and you were affected, let us know. We'd love to partner with you in rebuilding that mess. Let's talk about parting words. We got about 5 minutes left. I want to hear what you guys do in your. Joe said yoga a little while ago. I hope that's not his answer to this, or maybe it might be wine. I don't know. What do you do with your free time? If you find yourself with an hour, which I know you don't, but if you do, what would you do with it, with your free time, or 30 minutes? Let's just go around the horn. Vince, we can start with you if you want to.
I'm just kid obsessed, family obsessed. So I call them my legacies. So whatever we can squeeze out. There are times where I give 30 minutes away and drop them off at, Mimi and Pawpaw's. But my wife and I we're in that phase. They're 7 and 4. Every second we can have with those kids is what we're doing. And one day they're not going to want to do that. So, yeah, loving it.
Yeah, listen what happened to us last night. This will be a good story for you. Well, like, people laugh, and I'm not giving this as parenting advice. I'm not sure if my wife is still on here or not, but we can live in a 1-bedroom apartment because all of our kids sleep in the same room with us. Like, and we're not fighting it. I know some people I'm sure I'm going to get messages. They're like, you're giving them bad habits in the future. But last night, everybody decided they want to sleep in their own beds on their own. And I'm in putting Grady to bed, and my wife texts me and she goes, I'm not sure I'm ready for this. Like, she's in the bedroom by herself. All the kids are gone. I'm putting the baby down. She's like, I'm not sure I'm ready for this. So seize the day, right? Seize the day when
you're not, and I'm sure you've already done this a couple of times. Wait till you drop them off at college for the first time. All the babies. You're not ready to let them sleep in their bed. You're never ready for them to leave the house.
Yeah, last night. Yeah, JoJo tried last night. She's 4, and we bought her a cool bed. It's awesome, and she was going to sleep in it, and I could not leave the room. I was in the chair, and I was watching the camera, and she's right there, and I'm in there with her, and Jenna pokes her head in and goes, "You coming?" And I was like, "Did we just leave her here?" Now, of course, it lasted about an hour and a half, and then she crawled in the bedroom, and I was like, "Okay, I can sleep now."
Hey. So, when I dropped my daughter off at College of Charleston, I couldn't talk all the way home.
Yeah,
2.5 hours from the College of Charleston and Little River, and I couldn't say anything. I was devastated, man. So you're never ready for that,
right?
Greg,
what about free time? Free time, Greg.
Scroll through Facebook. There's a lot of Facebook pages. Moving to South Carolina, I need a realtor, so if I got some free time in the office, I'm scrolling through those.
Not work, Greg. What does Greg do for fun? You surf, you skate. I know this about you.
Oh, fun. Yeah, I surf a lot, man. I surf a lot. That's pretty much my only hobby right now.
That's awesome.
I actually,
Hey, Joe, how about-
I was at the beach this morning before I got here.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Nice. Not me, man. I was just trying to get out of bed. Joe, how about you?
You know, I if it's, and the kids are usually involved, even now with any of my hobbies, fishing, surf fishing. That's we've been doing a lot of that. Recently took my golf clubs out of the attic after they went up there before the kids were, or when the kids were born, and now I'm getting the itch and getting the kids involved. So I think it's a good opportunity for us to bond, get out one at a time and play 9 holes together and really kind of connect before we hit those teenage years. And
Excellent. Brute.
I'm at.
That's great. I love that, Joe.
Well,
What about you, Bruce?
you probably know the answer to this. Putting the top down on the little convertible we have and going for a long ride. That's become my favorite hobby now, over even practicing or playing guitar. It's so much fun, and we get to do it together, so that makes it even better.
Can't you see Bruce driving a little Volkswagen Bug convertible? I mean, I just love it. I just love it.
Well, I bought it for my wife, but I know we only have a certain amount of time, but the engine blew up unexpectedly out of no notice whatsoever 2 years ago. And it was very expensive to fix. And we thought about selling the car with a blown up engine, but we both sat in the living room for a week in our spare time, feeling like we lost our best friend. So we ended up biting the bullet and fixing it and keeping it. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. You got the right one and you can't get rid of it. Sean, how about you? Free time, man. Not work time, free time.
One, I'm a golfer, but I'm going to end the story with a quick motivational story. I have almost a 10-year-old male basset that was born at my house, and I live on a golf course, and we're surrounded by a horseshoe swamp, and there's plenty of area for me to take him out every day. And every day for about 30 minutes, I go out on my golf cart with my male basset hound, and I let him run all over the place. And when I get home, it's like a 5-year-old on Christmas morning. He's barking his head off, jumping everywhere, all up under my feet. Can't wait to get in the golf cart. And he is so ready to go chase a deer or a rabbit or a squirrel or whatever he can put his nose to the ground find. If you don't know, basset hounds are bred for hunting. And he is pumped up every day like there's no tomorrow. And there's no peace when I come home, and he will not stop barking until I go get in that golf cart and start driving down the end of the cul-de-sac, let him go run around and chase things. And we've been doing this for almost 10 years, and he has never once caught anything. Now imagine every day you getting up and being excited about going fishing. And every day for 10 years you go fishing, and every day you don't catch a single thing. But every morning when you get up, you're excited and can't wait to go fishing again.
You don't have to catch anything.
And to see the persistence of this basset hound, who every day can't wait to go hunting, but yet has never caught anything. And I think about that in life. If everybody would take that on, I'm getting up today and I'm going to be successful in real estate, and you go all day long and nothing happens, no contracts, nothing written out, and the next day, same thing, and the next day, same thing. But, you really just got to keep that same excitement every day. Even if you don't achieve what you really want to get that day, every day, just wake up and be excited about it. Like a 5-year-old on Christmas morning, or my basset hound when it comes time to go get in the golf cart and take off. I think life would be a lot better for people if everybody stayed that excited.
What a great story to end with. I love that. You've told me that before, and that's like, I want to come watch that, because that'd be fun to see in person. The whole purpose of this show, guys, we're wrapping up here, and I want to say, CJ, if you're out there, CJ, I think we got our first heart, our first love on Facebook. Excuse me. So, CJ, thank you for that. I wanted you guys to know that the purpose of the show is to have people like you on here to kind of open up your playbook a little bit, your personal life a little bit. My passion, my prayer is that you would be able to connect with some people out there like this gentleman right here that was listening today. Yeah, make sure you ask Sean about his cape and his mask. And this person right here that happened to be listening, I'm hoping that your network will increase, that you will be connected now. Maybe Joe is now connected to Sean with golf, or Vince with wine, or somebody out there was listening that really likes Ruth's Chris and is curious about that, or plays guitar and would pick up the phone and call Bruce. I just want to help your network increase by your participation on the show. But I couldn't be more thankful that you were here. I thought it was a great time chatting. I hope that you get something out of it. Again, it'll be edited and live next Monday on all the platforms that you can find your favorite podcast. So without further ado, Rise Up Nation, thanks for listening in, and we will catch you guys real soon on the next episode.
See y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.